Good morning, everybody. I'm a little behind today, but we're going to get this started. I'm Amy. I am your hidden consumer expert and author of The Hidden Consumer Uncovering the Power of Health Conscious Buyers. So, today we're going to talk about processed and ultra processed foods. One of the big questions I've been getting on all of the podcasts I've been on is what's the difference? So, in the book, page 33. I actually have it marked because it's a big topic. At the bottom of the page, I start talking about processed, ultra processed foods, what that means, and how that, because it really impacts our health. And a lot of the things we're talking about in that section is the health conscious consumer. So, processed versus ultra processed foods. Processed, how I like to describe it, is if you take corn from the field and you're going to process it and put it into a can, that is a processed food, right? Not a lot happens to it, but you've got to go through the whole process of getting corn off the cob, and you've got to put it in a can, and the can's going to have possibly liquid in it, like all that stuff. All the reasons why I can't even eat canned food. But ultra processed means the ingredients that are made in an ultra processed food are super refined. So that means these are products made in a lab. They're going to be lab created ingredients. Their base might be like corn as a natural ingredient to start with, but they're going to be making more refined. And what that does is it's going to take away the nutrients and it adds all the calories. It adds hidden sugars, hidden salts, hidden trans fats, hidden, like everything that we're not supposed to have in our diets gets hidden in an ultra processed food. Now, this has to happen for a couple of reasons. When you go to such an extent to refine a product or refine that ingredient, what you're doing is removing, not only are you removing all the nutrients, you're removing the flavoring. So there is no natural flavors left in an ultra refined food. So really when you look at a package and it says natural flavors, it's kind of an oxymoron because they're not natural anymore. But that's why we have all the sugars, and they use ultra refined lab created sugars that are made to be super sweet, super addictive. So this is going to be the process that I start to wonder, and this is why I ask the question of all my podcast hosts, are we true? And there is research on this, by the way. I will be doing a post on this or even a newsletter down the road here. But here's the key. We know sugar is more addictive than cocaine. So if our diets in America are between 60 and 75% ultra processed foods, that's a big gap, but I'm seeing numbers from all over the places, and they're good back end. It's like, this is CDC, we're getting information, scientific journal, we're getting information, science of medicine and health. All these places have a wide range of how much we think Americans are eating of processed foods, and it's between 60 and 75%. So the question is the fact that we're addicted to our food part of the problem why we're eating so much ultra processed foods? Now, there's a whole economic issue here, there's a time issue here. We can't afford to buy the food we need, and if we can't afford to buy, do we have the time to make the food we need? All of these things. So that's the heartbeat here. This is why ultra processed foods are so bad, and we're hearing so much about it. I started writing my book in 2022, and since 2022, I have found a minimum of 10 more peer-reviewed science articles from around the world, not just the United States, but from around the world. I even use a UK-based peer-reviewed journal for one of my references here in the BMJ is who I used, I believe, for my book, for one of the resources. But they're all saying the same thing. Ultra processed foods are detrimental to our health. So we're addicted to our sugars. We are, and then on top of that, we're killing our kidneys because there's so much sugar in all of these ultra processed foods. It's literally making a majority of people go into kidney failure. This is why wherever you see a Starbucks, you also see a dialysis center, because so many people are having kidney issues now. But that's not the worst of it. We're seeing an increase in people with chronic pain, chronic inflammation, so many chronic conditions, which means daily living with a problem. Because if we look back, it's directly really impacted by the food we're eating. So the food we're eating is making us sick, which is making us go to the doctor. But the problem now when you're at the doctor is they're using highly refined ingredients to make their medications. So I'm allergic to all meds, all supplements, all vitamins, right? Because I am an ultra sensitive, super sensitive, parts per billion sensitive to corn and corn derivatives, which makes up everything in the world around us in the United States. So because of that, when you go to the doctor, they're not going to tell you to change your diet. They're just going to give you a medication that actually is probably, to some extent, if your issue goes back to diet, it's not going to actually do anything for you because it's just adding more of the same ingredients on top of what you already been eating in your food. Not healthy for you. Does this mean medications are bad? No, absolutely not. I mean, and I get I come off very much, yes, it is, but no. Understand. But here's the thing. There are certain people who absolutely do need medications. I talk about that in my book as well, if you didn't need to see my to-do list. But the problem is a majority of people on medications, we could solve a lot of our problems if we just changed our diet. And I'm not the first person to say this. We've been hearing this for years. But doctors are now trained to just give you a prescription. They're not trained to talk to you about a diet. And I also, in the book, right around the same section, around page 33, I talk about, dietitians and nutritionists, and they did me no good. My amount of knowledge I have on how ingredients are made, how food is processed, outweighs anything that a nutritionist or dietitian knows. And that is extremely unfortunate because if a nutritionist and dietitian don't understand that the food they're recommending is part of the cause of your current problem, we're not going to be able to get healthy. And what's the long-term effects of all this? What's the long-term effects of the 60 to 75% of our diet being ultra processed foods? The long-term effect is we're going to be lowering our age of living. So I think we're at 70 right now, maybe 80. We pick out people in the blue zones who can make it to 100 or later. But reality is, if a majority of Americans cannot afford to eat better, if they are stuck buying the crappy food, we're going to see our ability to live to age 70 decreased. And I truly believe that our ability to live up to the age 60 could even be in jeopardy. Look at all the people currently in the age that's 30 to 40 already on dialysis or in kidney failure. What are we doing as a society if we're not fixing these problems? However, it's not going to be an easy fix. So that's where I come in. And what I'm talking about is, how do we look at baby steps? I do not recommend what I had to go through, where I had to literally upend my entire kitchen overnight because I could not eat anything. But I know that just because I'm allergic to it doesn't mean you are. But science is showing you're going to react to the same foods, but in a different way. My allergy technically is saving my life, right? Because I'm not going to I don't have as much of a risk of kidney failure, of cancer, of gastral issues, of inflammation. I mean, I'm going to be doing a whole webinar on decoding ingredients and labels, which is kind of the point of what this whole show was going to be about. But in the chat, I'm putting the site for the What's on Your Table webinar for people to find out more. There's not a lot of information on there. I got the basic outline. I'm going to be adding more details over the next couple of weeks. Like, I want to tell you what I'm actually going to be talking about in every episode. But it's a Zoom call. Everyone gets to come in. I want you to bring your questions, but I'm really going to be breaking down and decoding how do you find these ingredients on the back of a label, right? What does all this mean? How do we decode those natural flavors? What does it mean? What is dextrose? Everyone's like, it's just chemically accurate to sugar. It's really Probably not. No, no, no. Do you know that when you drink an energy drink, when you have a soda, when you have any sweetened type drink, all you're really drinking is moldy liquid corn sugar. That's all you're drinking. That's all it is. But it's super sweet and you're addicted to it because of the sugars. So we're going to break that down. I'm going to tell you all of them. If you've signed up for my newsletter, you already have the list of all the different terminology used for hidden sugars and hidden salts. And a majority of those words do not use sugar or salt. Some of them use sodium, but they are they being the food industry, food chemists, those who make the ingredients, they're really hiding a lot of what they put in and what's being used in an ingredient to make the ingredients for your packaged ultra processed foods. So it's not just about avoid ultra processed foods. I mean, if we can't afford to avoid, what are our next steps? And that's really where I want to try and bridge the gap. I get there are just some areas I can't help. I get it. But if you want to learn more and you want to get a better education around what ingredients and how they're made, um, again, based on my experience, because I'm allergic to how ingredients are made, I can give you that information. And that's what these webinars are set up for. And the thing is, it's not like one label is everything. What I want to do is really talk about the impact on your body. So there are two separate months where I talk about cosmetics and another one where I'm talking about body and skincare. And that's because when we use these ultra refined ingredients in our cosmetics and skincare, we're altering the pH balance. And what that really means is it's going to take a while to switch off. I didn't have a choice. Even my shampoos and conditioners, it took me like 2 years to find a safe shampoo conditioner, which I lost my safe conditioner 2 years ago. I've been using something else in the meantime. It's okay. It's not as safe as what the original formula of what I had used before was, but I can't find something that clean anymore. Which there's also a whole webinar on what to look for and how to avoid being taken in by marketing terminology that's meant to confuse you. That's a whole other one. But here's the problem. When you stop using those products, your body takes 6 months to a year to adjust. And I can tell you that because it took me almost a full year. Like I was the type of person, I used Clinique, I used Lancome, I used Estee Lauder. I happened to have one time been oversaw the department for cosmetics at a chain store. So I had access to all the top brands. When I wasn't buying those top brands, I was at Target buying CoverGirl, not L'Oreal. I was a CoverGirl. But again, no matter those ingredients between CoverGirl and Elf and then Lancome, Clinique, Estee Lauder, unfortunately, there's a lot of overlap. And what they're doing is they're drying out your face or they're adding oils, depending on how your face reacts to those chemicals that are being added, those ingredients, overly refined, ultra processed ingredients to your cosmetics. I today use very little moisturizer. I use oil-based products. Like there's like 3 to 4 ingredients. And when we do these webinars, I'm going to be bringing in what I use to show you the difference between the ingredients on my packaging that I can find that's either safe or safe-ish. Cosmetics, I don't really have a super safe brand. I have a brand I like to use. I like dealing with the owner. We've had some chats over the years. She supports me on Instagram. Like even when I wasn't even after I stopped being a disability model, she was still there supporting me. And that was like super cool. So there's brands I like to support and I don't get anything back. So there is that. I love to support small business. And that's what I'm going to show you. How do we find those small businesses to really invest in our economy, but also to make sure that we're safe with what we can use. And if you can use Clinique and Estee Lauder and CoverGirl and Elf and you have no reaction, oh my God, you are so lucky. But not everybody has that ability. So especially for teenagers, I had a lot of issues with acne as a kid. And my mom was always like, I don't remember having my acne that bad, like back acne, which turned out it was from my shampoo and conditioner. Yeah, if you have a lot of like back acne or your back is like always dry and itchy, it could very well be because of the shampoo and conditioner as it runs down your back. Those are little tips and tricks I'm giving throughout this webinar. Now, there is a charge for the webinar. I am a wealth of knowledge. This is why I'm doing so many things right now. But here's the thing. I don't want to waste my time by showing up and nobody being there. So there is a minimal charge. It's $10 per session, or there is an ability to buy a year-long course, which is what I'm calling it. My webinar is a year-long course because we're educating on how to find better things. You can buy all the full year at the price of 9, and then you get 2 sessions free because there's only 11. This will probably be the only year I do 11 webinars. Next year, it will probably be, or 2027, it will be 10. Let's give myself a couple months break here, not just one. I'm a business owner. I get to do what I want. The joy, for all the hassle of running your own business, I can do little things like that. So I am not seeing any comments pop up, but I have to be honest, I'm not really paying attention. So go to what's on your table. It's at thehiddenconsumer.com/what's on your table with dashes between each word. Or go into the chat and pull up the link and look into some. Keep an eye on it, or I'm going to be talking about it more between now and Christmas, the holiday season, December 22nd type time. I'm going to be taking some time off at the end of the year to regroup and get myself ready for the big start of everything I'm putting together right now in fourth quarter. If you are curious to learn more about The Hidden Consumer, the book, it's thehiddenconsumer.com/home. I did try and do a redirect, which it failed miserably. So I have to figure out what's going on there. And I don't have time with everything else I'm building out right now for my food coaching side, which officially launches in 2 weeks. But you can find information at thehiddenconsumer.com/home to get more information on what that looks like, or you can go to hiddenconsumersconsulting.com. Yeah, hiddenconsumersconsulting.com. That's all it is. And you can pull up my actual page and you can see the 2 different sides of things I do. Hi, Kathy. So lovely to see you. I know there's a bit of a time delay, so I don't know when you actually posted that, but hi, Kathy. So if you are curious to know more about the business side of how I work with marketing firms, if you want to read more about my food coaching side, that's also there. And then my professional speaking career as well, where I do keynote speaking. That's all at hiddenconsumersconsulting.com, which there is a link from thehiddenconsumer.com/home. If that isn't enough for you, right? It's all in the chat. Click on those links. Have some fun. That is not what I wanted to show. I was going to show you a QR code. If you are curious about the book, I have been asked to just show the Amazon link. There's the Amazon link. Go ahead. You can buy the book from Amazon, but really you can buy my book wherever you buy books. I do a lot of work in support of bookshop.org and local businesses. So again, my business at Hidden Consumers Consulting really started as a way to support other small businesses and how do we get them more visible, keep them online, and really make sure that our small business community is staying open. The stats of within the first 2 years, like 50% of small businesses close. I'm very thankful that I'm heading into year 6. So I must be doing something right, even though I'm changing direction right now. So there you go. You can buy the book on Amazon if you are curious, or if you are more curious to buy anywhere you buy books, because I am officially international. I did get into like some of the bigger bookstores within the UK and Australia and all that, but you'd have to go to my book website, which there's the QR code for the book website. And I believe it should take you directly to wherever you can buy books. I do have a where to buy link right in there, so you can pick where to buy. You can even buy directly from the small business I worked with, the Small Business Publisher Broad Book Group, if you wanted to buy directly from their website as well. Why do I do that? Because if I don't do it that way, I either have to cut into my own profits of the book for covering taxes and shipping, or I have to charge taxes and shipping, which there's a whole deal there. And people have gotten really mad at me for having to charge taxes and shipping. So not the people that I originally worked with, but people who don't know me. So I don't want to deal with it. And you can buy the book wherever you want to buy books. So there you go. All right, that's everything. So just a quick recap. Ultra processed foods, yes, they're bad, but we can't just drop eating them ASAP. We need to figure out a plan, and that's where I come in as a food coach. I'm going to educate you and talk to you about what are your health goals and how does food impact what you're trying to achieve. I am not a medical professional. I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not an allergist. What I'm doing is I'm coming at you from my background of research, from being a historian. I'm a business analyst, which means for me, research is the key to success. And I want to be able to educate with the knowledge I have to show you how you can start understanding how to decode and read those labels so you have the ability to make the choice to eat healthy when you can and when it makes sense. Okay, I get it. That's just life is life. So, how do we go into a grocery store and not feel overwhelmed with everything we see and all the ingredients and just not understanding why everyone keeps saying hidden sugars, hidden salts, hidden trans fats? What does all that mean? It'll be a year-long session, but I will take you through all of that, helping you understand how to find and eat a better, healthier lifestyle. So, thank you guys. I appreciate you. If you have read the book, I would love a review. I would just absolutely love it. So, fun fact, if you haven't read the book, I do have a Beyond the Food Industry chapter. It starts on page 111. And I'm bringing this up because in the next 8 minutes, no, not even 8, in the next 5 minutes, I have to be out of the house and on my way to the dentist. And as a super sensitive to all things medical, not just food, this just increases my stress because when it comes to the medical profession, unless they diagnosed you and unless they saw you through the process of what you had to go through, they don't believe you. And it's very unfortunate. So I get to go to a dentist who's a little bit more understanding than some of the other dentists I've seen in the past, but I have to be extremely careful. And if you want to read more about why, pick up the book, The Hidden Consumer, Uncovering the Power of Health Conscious Buyers. And you can buy that wherever you buy books. So thank you all. I am your hidden consumer expert. And if you want to learn how to make grocery shopping safer while decoding those ingredient labels, sign up for the What's on Your Table webinar. And we will chat next week. Have a great day.